Hello, my sisters and brothers in Christ. Once again, as we continue in this faith journey, in a particular way, as we continue to speak about the Eucharistic revival. Last week, there was a celebration of the Eucharistic Congress in upstate New York, and I'd share with you, I was at a wedding in upstate New York, and other parishioners and people from our diocese were up in Orisville, which is where the North American Martyrs shrine is. And all 8 dioceses were up there, and there was the celebration of Mass and a greater reverence of the Eucharist, talks about the Eucharist, processions and adoration, and also it coming together in that final Mass so that all who are sent afterwards to proclaim that powerful message of Jesus' presence, and in a particular way here in the Eucharist. For us here too at St. William the Abbot, we're trying to have more opportunities for us to gather as we did the other night on that night of peace, of adoration. And just as a reminder, when we come into the church, there are times that in the tabernacle we know Jesus is present in the Blessed Sacrament. And that would be more of like a private opportunity of adoration when we can come in where the Blessed Sacrament is reposed and inside the tabernacle. But there are other times when it becomes very, very public adoration. We do it every single day, Monday through Saturday at 7:15 till about 8:30 before Mass, where different parishioners come in for that quiet time. Sometimes it's all quiet. Sometimes we'll have a little bit of music, like the Gregorian chant. But for some who may be a little bit less familiar with what's going on, we know at each and every single Mass, there's the consecration of the Eucharistic hosts. At the end, if there's some left, we put that back into the tabernacle and it's reposed there and used when there's need for extra host during the Mass. But there are some times when we come for quiet adoration, and when you come into the church, you'll see this vessel. This vessel is called a monstrance, and the monstrance is just that, a vessel to place the Blessed Sacrament. The Blessed Sacrament is put in one of the larger hosts into what's called a luna or a lunette. Luna, almost like a moon, right? Luna. So it looks like a moon, and it would go in. So right now it's empty, but we would generally put a consecrated host in here, place it within the monstrance, and then display it on the altar for adoration. And people would come, have quiet prayer, and allow the Lord to speak to them directly. Some of the things that accompany what happens with adoration is you'll see a humal veil. This is a veil that goes around kind of to cover the priest so that you're not really looking at us or our hands. It's used to cover in the holding of the monstrance, and then there's a benediction or a blessing that occurs. So it would kind of look something like this, where you wouldn't see so much of the priest or my clothes or my hands, and it goes around the monstrance, and very often it's either carried like this, or for the benediction when there's a blessing. So that's sometimes that you would see the Blessed Sacrament out in adoration. Also accompanied, we have the incense that would usually follow that, because we know that our prayers rise up like incense. But another time that you would see it, the Blessed Sacrament, is in a procession. And so, like we've had processions here with the Blessed Sacrament, we've also had processions with the Blessed Mother around the property. But I got to tell you about this awesome experience that happened last week, where, again, the greater reverence of the Eucharist. There was an opportunity to gather in St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. And thanks to the Napa Institute and the coordination of other dioceses, some great priests from here and from all over gathered for prayer time. They put the Blessed Sacrament in the monstrance and processed around Manhattan. So we know that our faith tells us that Jesus Christ is present, body, blood, soul, and divinity in the Eucharist. And so when we come in adoration, we're here with the Lord, often in the church. But they took the Blessed Sacrament around Manhattan. And it stopped traffic. People were looking. They had the support of the NYPD out there walking and assisting in that, the chaplains that were there, and also the police officers, that Jesus, in the midst of the busyness and the craziness of Manhattan, the presence of Christ was there. Now, we know we can do that here in our church, but I thought that would be also, some of you may or may not have heard about this, that at the end of this video, it's a link for you to watch Christ, which is present to us right here in the Blessed Sacrament in our church, but his presence as well in the madness and the craziness of Manhattan. That Jesus is present. He's here. We just have to quiet our heart. So take some time and watch this video and know that the Lord is coming to you.